Welcome back to another video, guys. We are doing this really cool shot today, and we're getting into the realm of videography today. Apart from the real estate stuff that I was doing in the past, today we got this really cool shot of a buddy of mine who's training to be a UFC fighter. So this is the before shot that we have. As you can see, I shot this at 4K, I think 120 frames. I think that's what I shot it at. And all I did was I dragged this clip in here. Right here, I just did a simple time remapping. So you go down here, you just right click on this, show clip keyframes, time remapping speed, and there you can keyframe the speed of the clip. And all I did was I brought the clip down to 25% because it was shot at 120 frames, and that brings it down to 30 frames. So it gets a nice, smooth, slow-mo shot right here. So that's all I did for that. I let the ball hit and then go up a little bit, and that's when I start to slow down the video right there. Compared to the first shot, which let's go over there. As you can see, the ball hits the ground and then a gravity warp wave comes in beneath it. And that is actually 3D tracked to the screen. You can see with all the shakes that are happening with the camera moving, it's actually locked onto the ground, which makes for a really, really cool effect. There's also a turbulent displace. You can see the ball is warped up here. So we'll get into how to do all that. And since I'm redoing this shot, it's going to look a little bit different just because of human error. So it won't look exactly like this shot, but it might even come out better. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. And all we're going to do to start working on it, we're going to get this shot into After Effects. And by doing that, you just right click, replace with After Effects composition, and that sends the entire thing into After Effects. And as you can see, the slow-mo is still applied to the video. So you can just do that easy part in Premiere and then send it over to After Effects. Now what we want to do, we want to start with the ground. We want to start with the ground warp effect. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go over here, new composition, and we want the width and the height to be the exact same. And then we're going to call this wave just for organizational purposes. I'm going to do wave 2 because I already previously practiced to make sure I could do the tutorial correctly. So it's the same frame rate. That's fine. It doesn't matter. And it's a 2-second clip, something like that. So yeah, just make sure it's square, hit OK. That'll send us to the new thing. We're going to go down here, right click, new, solid. It's just going to be a white solid. It's going to be the same exact size as everything. And this is going to be the, they'll just call it white solid. It'll just be the ring that we create. So we'll add that in there. And I'm going to turn off the transparent background. I just want it to be black so I can see what I'm doing properly. From here, we're going to go up here and create a mask that perfectly makes a circle through the entire thing. So the way you do that, if you're on the rectangle tool, it'll look like that. So you just want to hold down and go to ellipse, and then you just want to double click that, and that'll create a perfect circle in there, just like that. Actually, I think I need to select white solid first and then double click. There we go. So that we want a mask. We don't want a shape. We want an actual mask on the white solid. So that's how you do that. Check out this mask expansion. We're going to bring this down a little bit, just like so. Just like right there, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't need to be exact values. Whatever looks good according to your shot. And the way we're building this, you're going to be able to go in and fix everything yourself and tweak the little tiny things that you need. So we're going to bring up this feather a little bit just so it smooths out. We want a wave effect, and waves are not just sharp lines like this. They are kind of beveled, or they're kind of feathered, I guess you would say. So that looks pretty good. We're going to drag it out a little bit. We're just going to play through this and see how fast it goes. So we want, as we're watching this red line, we want the wave to come out like, just like that, if that makes any sense. So we want the max to be like right about here. And we're just going to put a keyframe on the mask expansion right there. We'll drag it back all the way to the beginning, and then we'll drag this mask expansion until you cannot see it anymore, just like that. So now if we let this load in, so there's that. We're going to click on the mask again, and we're going to hit Control D. So we're going to make the same exact mask with the same exact keyframes. All we're going to do is go here and go to subtract. This will give us a ring effect, which is what we really want to see. Then after that, we'll drag it out here around there and go to this second mask expansion. And we're just going to drag this up until the ring disappears. So as it plays, the ring comes in and it goes away. Next up, we'll go to this keyframe here. I want it to be thicker than this. I don't want it to be, like, I want to see some pure white. Right now, it's just a gradient that kind of gets close to white. So all we'll do for that is just drag this mask expansion down. We're on this middle keyframe on mask 2, and we just drag that down a little bit, and then that starts to show the white in there again. So that comes through and then it disappears just like that. It's really slow because my computer is kind of a dinosaur, but there we go. So that's good for the time being. We can come in, tweak some little things later, but we'll go back to the original shot right here, and we'll go to right where the ball hits the ground, right there, that frame, and we'll drag in wave 2 into this. And we want the start to be like that. As you can see, this wave starts to come in. That looks really good already. I'm liking that. That looks nice. We want it to start right when the ball hits the ground. So maybe we'll drag it a couple frames over, just like that. Someone comment and say how many times I say just like that in this video. Now what we want to do is orient the circle so that it's on the ground and it's at least close to what we're seeing. And I think the quickest way to do that, we're just going to shut off the wave layer right now. And we're going to click on this down here. We're going to go up to track camera and we're going to go here. Oh, must mask. Okay. This is a good lesson. So all I did was I dragged the footage. The original footage, when I shot it, it was horizontal. It wasn't vertical. So I had to just, it doesn't show on here, but I just made the rotation 90 degrees. Quick way to fix that, you run into this all the time when you're dealing with After Effects, is you just go here, you go to pre-compose, move all attributes to new composition, and slam. I'll just call it slam. There we go. So now we have, this is now its own composition, meaning default values everywhere. And the slow still remains in there, the slow-mo. So now that we got that, we'll go do the same exact thing. Click on this, hit track camera over here. It'll analyze in the background. I'm going to go to advanced properties right here, if I can. Hello. There we go. We're going to hit detailed analysis and make sure that it just analyzes every frame with the maximum amount of detail that we can. I always do this. I've never really done the normal analysis, or maybe I have in the past, but the result just doesn't come out as good. So it's always good to just sacrifice that little bit of extra time just to get a better quality product. All right, so the camera's solved. Luckily in this shot, there's just so many points. There's so many solid, rigid points in space that the camera has a lot to work with here. So we're just going to scroll through here. The tracks, these things are massive. So if you want to change that at all, you just go over here to track point size and drag that down, and it'll show you some better options. So this area right here is looking really solid, and this area over here is looking good. We can use all of these track points to our advantage on the ground. That's where we want this gravity wave to be. We want it to be on the ground. So we'll just go over here and drag our cursor over all these track points, give it as much data as possible, and you can see it gives a little target size right there. Now it's okay if it's a little slanted. As you can see, this target is slanted. We can adjust that very easily. We just want the basic outline. That's what we want. So we're going to right click on this, create null and camera. Now all that does is that gives us a point on the ground that should be locked on the ground, especially in the slow-mo. That's the only time we really need the point to be locked onto the ground, and it looks like it did a really good job on being locked onto the ground. So just to consolidate, we'll bring this down. Since this is when the ball hits the ground, we'll just bring it maybe one frame prior, just like that. That looks really good. So now what we'll do is we'll get our wave back in the picture. And what we want to do is, I think we parent it to the null first, and then we hit 3D layer, which is this button right here. If you don't see that button, go to toggles and switches down here, and this button should show up. So now we do that, and you can see it is in the shot, but for some reason After Effects, it does this all the time where it'll zoom it in and it'll bring down, you can see it's like way down here. So if you see these brown dots or any colored dots near this null object, that's a good sign. That means it worked. But now this is locked onto the floor, and we can just shift click right here, click first and then hit shift, and that will let you scale it up to the size that you want. So click first, hit shift, and do that. As you can see, hits the ground and it expands. It's not in the exact spot that we want it, but that's okay. It's very easy to fix. So we're on wave 2. And we can move this to the exact spot that we want it to be at. I think that looks pretty good. Now we'll get into the actual orientation of it. All we want is for this square to be flat. We don't want it to be angled at all. So really just eyeball this. It doesn't need to be perfect, especially in this shot here. And if you want to go back to your normal frame size, just to see how it looks, you can do that. There you go. It's looking pretty good. We can continue to tweak it a little bit here and there and just try and flatten it out so that it looks like it's on the ground. Just like that. That looks much better. And you can even bump up the scale even more if you want it to be huge. a huge wave effect. But I really don't want the wave to affect this guy back here. So we will drag it back down a little bit. And there we go. It kind of just barely misses his foot right there. So that looks good. It does go over his feet, but that's okay. We'll fix that. So this is where you really want to fine tune this point right here. You really want to fine tune the exact look that you're going for, because up next we're going to pretty much bake this circle into the frame itself. So we're going to export just the circle and drag it back into the clip, because we need it to do that. We can't, since it's 3D tracked, we can't just add something onto this, because, for example, let's go to new adjustment layer, just like that, and get a displacement map up here, throw it in here. As you can see, if I drag this up a bunch, oh, it's on the wrong source. So you go up here, displacement map layer, and then click your wave right there. If I drag it up like crazy, it's just that original centered circle that we have. It doesn't follow this white on the ground here. So that's the only unfortunate part with 3D tracking on this. If you had a stationary camera, you wouldn't need to 3D track it. You can just place it on the ground. But this little bit of extra work, it won't matter, because it's gonna look like a really sweet finished product. So we'll delete these, and we'll just go shut off all these layers. We actually need the null to be available and the camera tracker. And if I go black background, you can see it's still following the imaginary camera that's in there. If I drag this around, you can see it's moving around. When you're exporting this circle here, you want it to be in the QuickTime format. You want a transparent background. You want it to be the alpha channel, whatever it's called, just so you get the circle itself. You don't want the black. So the way you do that is you go down to output modules, and you go up here. It'll probably default to H.264. You just go down to QuickTime and make sure it's going to default to RGB. You want to go to RGB plus alpha, and that should be good right there. Just make sure your output is in the correct area, and then you just hit render. It might take a couple extra seconds. Nope, perfect. So we'll go back here. So we got our other clip in there, and as you can see now, if we show the ring right there and then bring on our normal thing, it doesn't have a black background. It's just the ring itself, which is exactly what we want. So we'll drag this in, consolidate it a little bit, and we'll do that again. Now we go in, add an adjustment layer, and keep it organized. Displacement map, we go up here and we click our new layer, and now the displacement map should work properly. See how it's only going after the circle itself. It doesn't throw off the entire thing. Don't worry about these things on the side. We will fix that promptly, but we just want to make sure that the gravity wave itself is working. So that looks good. Wrap pixels around. What does that mean? That doesn't do anything. See, that would be a cool feature if it mirrored the parts that we needed it to mirror, but that's all right. We'll go in and fix that in a different way. So we got that going. I don't want this circle itself in there, so let's see if we can just go to transform on our circle, on our white circle clip, and just go to opacity 0. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now we just have the gravity wave itself. I'm surprised that worked so well. Usually things don't work out that well. All right, that's looking solid. Now let's go in, I think it's called motion tile. Yeah, I think that's the one that we want. Just make sure that the motion tile is above the displacement map here. And all we want to worry about is the output width and height. And be careful with this plugin, because if you drag it up super far, your computer's going to explode. So all we need to do is barely drag this up, just like that. And same with this one on the bottom, just 130. That should be solid, unless you're warping the crap out of your video. You probably wouldn't need more than this. So as you can see, this is just, if you can hear the cat, forgive me. My wife just gave him a bath and he's furious. Anyway, as you can see, it's mirroring how we want it to, but it's taking the top portion right here. So I think all you need to do is hit this, mirror edges, bang. Just like that, it is now mirroring what is happening on this edge rather than up here. It's not just copy and pasting the entire clip. So as you can see, that brings it all back into reality and makes it look clean and normal. So that's looking good. Let's play through the entire thing real quick. Boom. We've got a beautiful gravity wave going now. That looks sweet. So this is the main footage that we want to have. That gravity wave takes the longest pretty much. Now it's kind of just time to play around with it and clean it up, make it look as good as possible. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to select all of this stuff. We're going to pre-compose it into its own composition, gravity warp. Move all attributes to new composition. Make sure that this is selected. Turn that into its own composition. As you can see, nothing has changed. It just now is consolidated and it looks good. From here, we're going to go in here and grab our slam clip and we're going to hit Control C, go into this composition, hit Control V. There we go. I accidentally pasted 2, but we just need 1. Now this is the normal clip without the gravity wave. But the only reason I'm grabbing this is because his feet are getting affected by the gravity wave, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want it to look fake. You know, we want it to look like the gravity wave's going underneath his feet. So that means it's time to get into the rotoscope portion of this video. Now, the only part we really want is when the gravity wave starts affecting his feet. So it's right about there. I'm going to drag this new clip that we have, not a new clip, but the original clip that we have right there. And I think we just want everything after this clip. We might need to just export this clip by itself, just so we get the clean version of this clip. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So we'll go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue, blah, blah, blah. You know, all this stuff. H.264 is fine. Render. Get her out of there. There we go. So now we got our original clip back in there. And we can shut that off. We don't need it. Just make sure it all plays seamlessly. It does. Perfect. You just want to double check these things as you go, because if you go through the whole Rotobrush thing and then find out you need to bring it back a frame or something like that, it's super annoying. So Rotobrush, select this clip, double click to go into the layer, and we'll zoom to get in here. We'll get on his feet. I believe Rotobrush strokes cannot be added until the current frame is finished rendering. Okay, there we go. So we'll just drag around, get his feet to the best of our ability. Again, like, there's such a quick effect that's happening that, you know, not many people are going to notice particularly. But this is just, that's why we do all this stuff, is because you can't even really notice that it's fake. So we'll just get all those selected and we'll drag it back. I know the warp only goes to about here, so I'm not getting everything. We're just getting a good basic outline. It looks like it's doing a pretty good job of just getting his feet. It understands what to do. Perfect. So we'll just get that. Yep. I like that a lot. Now we'll go into the Refine Edge tool, and the way to, I always forget how to change the size of this. I'm so used to Photoshop. I'm going to look it up real quick. It's the easiest thing ever. You hit Control and you drag up. So silly. All right. So we'll go to the Refine Edge and we'll just drag a little outline around his feet, just like that. And then we'll let that propagate through the entire thing. I think it should do that, right? I don't know, maybe we'll do one at the end as well. That's not what I want. I don't know if we drag it backwards. Does it do any of this? So we can see our original, or what the actual footage looks like right now. It looks fine. I'm okay with that. We'll deal with it. All right, so we got that. As we can see, the back of his foot right here is getting warped into this whole thing. So the warp looks good, but we don't really want his feet in there like that. Now, how did I originally do it? Let's go back to the the OG clip. Okay, I kind of see what I did there. It's kind of smart. I just scaled it in so that it wouldn't really get his feet in there, because I think this was a problem originally. So yeah, we'll just leave that for now. We'll leave it looking the way it is, and this is what we got so far. Bang. Doesn't affect his feet. Cool. I'm liking that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pre-comp this entire thing yet again, just to consolidate it, because now we're just going to focus on the shaking and any turbulent displace that we want to have in the shot. So it's almost like you got to think of this as like an explosion that's happening almost. So we want the camera to zoom in right here, and we want it to shake the second it hits the ground. So we'll first focus on the shake itself. I think we can literally just type in wiggle into here and grab the position wiggle command. I used to just do all this stuff manually by going in, getting the slider and getting the transform and parenting all this stuff, or pick whipping, whatever it's called. But yeah, I realized you can just get it in there like that. So that is very nice. Go down to effects, and what we want, you can see it's slowly shaking right now. We just want to see the wiggles per second, wiggle amount. We'll just do a bunch of wiggles per second and see how that looks. That looks pretty drastic. We'll go down to 11. Try that out. That looks better. It's going to taper off. The wiggle's going to taper off as we go on. So we want that first initial jump to be pretty drastic. So we'll get a keyframe in here, drag it over 1, and then bring this down to 0 so that it just goes from nothing to boom. And then as it goes over here, we'll taper it off back to 0. You can see it's still pretty drastic. So we'll also bring down the wiggle amount to 0. And we'll just mess around with this. We'll see what ends up looking good. That looks pretty good. Oh, maybe we can go to like 10 pixels on the wiggle amount, just so it's not freaking out. And then right here, we'll go to wiggle like 2. That's looking pretty good. And from here, as you can see, we got those black bars again. So we're actually going to put in the command, or not the command. We're going to do a different tiling thing. It's called Reptile effect. And I think if we drag this on top as well, will that mess anything up? It did mess something up. Oh, drag it back. And we will just expand all of these a little bit. These don't need to be exact. We'll go here and go to unfold. See if that looks good. So we still got a little bit of a black line on there. Let's try and use the original motion tile. Drag it up top and output width and height. Oh, it doesn't need to be much. I forgot about that. Because my computer will blow up. It literally just needs to be like 10 extra mirror edges. There we go. That looks good. But it is mirroring the the edge right here. So I might disable that and just see what's going on. I think all we need to do is bring the position over slightly and up, just so it's not as drastic. We will keyframe the position as well. And then as it goes back here, I think it's right when this starts. So we'll just see what the correct value is by putting a keyframe over here. And then we'll just drag this keyframe back to here. There we go. That's fixed. Put the motion tile back on and it should be nice and clean. We can even make it a little more gradual. There we go. We want the camera to zoom in as well right here. So we'll go down to transform, scale, and as it's coming in, we'll just bump up the scale quite a bit. And we want it to be just enough so we still have a lot of detail in there, but we're not seeing the foot thing as much. And a simple thing to do to make it look even better is click that button right there. That'll give you motion blur. So now whenever it shakes, it looks like it's authentic. It looks like it's an actual explosion that's happening. Boom. It looks good. Let's add an adjustment layer here. And we'll go to Turbulent Displace, drag that on, and you can see it's super warped right now. We want the evolution to be changing as this goes. So we'll keyframe the evolution and we'll just drag it to the end and just do that or something. The amount, we want it to be quite a bit, but we want the size to come down. And then just mess with it. Make sure it looks to your liking. It's so much fun to mess with. So 0 should be normal. So I think we'll want to mess with just make sure we get a good idea of what keyframes we're putting in here. So that's where it starts. Amount, we'll drag it over, bring it up a little bit, see how that looks. I'm still seeing that darn transform value is not accurate. It's because the scale is out. So what if we drag, oh, whoops. What if we drag this like right here? All right, so the OG is looking good. Let's just delete that keyframe and just see if for some reason it fixed itself. We want that to be centered up. There we go. Okay, that looks way better. I don't know why it gave me that little glitch thing, but oh, it looks pretty good. It's really drastic. It's a lot more drastic than the original. So if we go back here and look at it, I really didn't put as much turbulent displace in there, but I kind of like how it looks more pronounced in this one. Like it looks like he's warping space and time itself just from this slam. So I kind of like that. I think another thing we could do is add another adjustment layer. Not content aware. No, adjustment layer. That's what we want. See, it did it again. What the heck? Okay, I mean, we already have an adjustment layer, so we can just go in through here. We'll go to the Lumetri color. And since it almost is like a fiery explosion that's happening, we could keyframe the temperature to get a little bit more red. That looks kind of cool. That's looking really solid. And there's no sound either. The sound will make this whole thing. That'll make it all come together. So I like how that looks. I really like how that looks. Maybe the temperature is a little bit harsh, but we can go here, basic correction, color, and just bring the temperature down a little bit, just so it's a little more subtle. There we go. I do like that. So let's export this whole thing. And I'm not going to use the render queue. I like to use media encoder when I'm doing a full project because Media Encoder doesn't play any games. It doesn't play around. Sometimes when I'm exporting from Premiere or After Effects, it just gets like slightly messed up when it's from within the program. But if I send the whole project to Media Encoder, it works out pretty well. We'll just do this for the time being because I think it will work out quite well. Let it render, and then this will take a little bit longer. Really not that much longer. Wow, that worked out quite well. I'll go back here where our original clip was, and we'll just drag it to the side. Find our clip. That looks good. We'll do some minor color grading on this. I'm just giving you everything. Screw it. We'll give you everything I do. Go to project, adjustment layer, bang, drag that on here, and now we can go into Lumetri color. I just put the adjustment layer on there because it helps the destructiveness of the things that I'm doing. So we'll go to basic correction, and we'll bump up the contrast a bit and the highlights as well. Shadows, I really don't want to, since it's kind of a training scene, you do want it to look a little dark. So yeah, we'll just stick with that for now. It'll sharpen it up for sure. I want some sharpening. Vibrance, I'm not going to worry about it. I think some really cool, what just happened? What is going on? Settings? There we go. It's back. I don't understand this thing sometimes. We'll go to curves, and we want the hue saturation curve. There are some distracting colors in this shot, like red. So I'm going to click that and just drag the saturation down, just so your eyes aren't really going there. It's just a subtle trick you can do. We'll do the same for this yellow little band that's out here. And we'll just drag that down a little bit. And then maybe the green as well over here. There we go. It's looking cool. RGB curves. We'll just give it a little slight S curve. Just play around with it. Make sure it looks good. Looks kind of gray to me. It could be all of the stuff that we did over here. So we'll dial it back a little bit. A vignette is always nice. Not too much. Dial it back. So I am glad we got the original sound in there of him slamming it, because that is the authentic sound. But when I first made it, I also have some other sounds that I used. I used this song in there. So it was right on the drop. I'm not sure if I'll get copyrighted for that. But I also have these other explosion and riser sounds. I'm just going to copy those and bring those over. I find all of these through Envato Elements. That's what I use. And all you got to do is just look up explosion, sound effect, riser, stuff like that. You want the suspense to build up as it's happening, and then you want the explosion to happen right on the drop of the thing. So right there, just like that. So the riser comes up, and then it all kind of just happens. It's a little bit delayed. As you can see, the ball hits the ground and the explosion isn't happening immediately. This one is the riser right here. So you can see that it's kind of delayed, but as you play through it, it looks authentic. We can try and drag it back a little bit and see how it looks different, but it just seems too early to me. Like I prefer where it originally was. Another effect that I really like to have on here is glow. So in Premiere, you can go to glow. I already have my own preset. It's called Pretty Glow. But you can just go, if you don't have if you don't have a preset for glow yet, you can just go to VR glow and you go to effect controls, and this is where you're going to mess with everything. So if we turn it on and off, you can see those lights are glowing quite a bit. And that's what we really want. We want the threshold to be at almost the brightest that it can be. If it goes to 1, that's too bright. That's the maximum amount of brightness. If you bring it down, it takes all of these little things in there. The slightest highlight, it'll brighten it up. Even 80 is a bit much for me. So I like the 0.9 quite a bit. We'll see how that looks when playing through it. The glow radius can come down, or it can actually, we can just get it to the point where it's not blowing out the lights completely. The glow brightness, you really want it to be subtle. That looks pretty good. I like that. I think that's a finished product right there. I'm liking that. So we'll take the whole thing, we'll hit the slash key. I just drag that back a little bit because I want the beginning of the clip to be the actual beginning of the clip. I'm okay if it goes black after that. No, don't do that. Bring that back a little. We'll just consolidate it into the clip that we want. But you can do this whole thing. You can do all of the stuff that I just taught you just with that original clip that we had. It's pretty cool stuff. It is pretty cool stuff. In this case, since I have sound involved, when I go to export offline material, that's not true. Sometimes it just lies to you. No, it won't be present. I guarantee it won't. A tutorial. We'll call it that. We'll go to that. My settings, like I said, I shot in 4K, and a way to get some extra quality if you're posting this on Instagram or anything like that is to go 1080 by 1920. This is 4K. I'm pretty sure it's 4K. It might be 1080p. Anyway, if you shoot in 4K, you want to dial it back to 1080 by 1920. That just gives you a little bit extra sharpness, and it lowers the file size. I'm going to go render at maximum depth, use maximum render quality, and just do like 12 megabits per second on the bit rate. That just keeps your file size small, but it also preserves that quality. Audio, I'm not going to do anything for that. I'm just going to leave that. Send it to media encoder. It's not going to do that. It's lying. It's over here. That's why it's saying that material's offline for whatever reason. But yeah, we'll export it up. We'll wait for this to load. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you watched the entire thing, I know that's a long tutorial, but it is worth it if you have clients, or if you're just pursuing your own creative business, your own brand. It's really good to just learn all this stuff. It's really not too complicated, you know. It really is just basics of After Effects, but it's just the more information that you learn about After Effects, you'll be able to incorporate all of these basic things into a shot like this. So we'll go ahead and export that out. It doesn't take long at all because we've already done all the hard work, and that is complete. And here's the finished product yet again. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you watched all the way through, I am a very small channel, so anything that you guys do on your end will help me out. If you like, comment, subscribe. If you found value in this video, if you found something that you had not already known, please just leave a like, leave a comment. If you leave a comment or any suggestions that you have in the future, if you want to see more video type stuff, let me know. If you want to see more photography, let me know. I got both on this channel, so I'll make some playlists as I continue to create content. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching. It's really cool to build a community and be in the early process of it. These are the, you know, humble beginnings that everyone always talks about. So if there's anything you think I can change, anything I can make better, let me know. And like I said, leave a like. Anyway, I'm really excited to see where this channel goes, and I'm excited to meet all you people that watch these videos and see what kind of content you produce. I'll be looking through your guys' channels if you comment, and I'll be looking at how your creative endeavors grow. So yeah, I'll be looking through all that stuff, and I really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.